Yeah, I don't know what to think about this. I won't lie, I was pretty excited for this one. More excited to play this than any Halo released prior on Steam. Everyone I knew praised this entry as one of the best, and back in the day, it was the killer app for the Xbox 360, a console family I've completely slept on and don't have any plans to buy into now that Halo is on Steam. And oh man, these review scores, all 9s and higher, leading me to believe that I was really in for something special on this release. Jump to today and it was okay. While I understand that Bungie was cut for time and had to wrap up Halo 2's campaign sooner than planned, leading to parts of the campaign being cut and reused in Halo 3, part of me wishes that Bungie would have just bitten the bullet and delayed Halo 2 to account for it. For one, the final levels of Halo 2 are a slog and a huge pace breaker, but in exchange, Halo 3 opens in a way that just struggles to grip me. It's really cool seeing Chief and Arbiter finally team up, and seeing an authentic reaction from Chief that feels in character is oddly rewarding. And let me just get this out of the way real quick. No, my opinion has nothing to do with the graphical presentation. In Halo 2, I primarily used the updated graphics from the 2014 re-release of the game, as that's the default version that came with the Steam release, but Halo 3 doesn't have any graphical updates, so this game looks just as jaggedy as it did in 2007, but honestly, that's fine. I went back and played through some of Halo 2 with the original graphics, and honestly, I still think it holds up pretty well. Sure, it could look better, but the graphics don't detract from the overall gameplay and decent level design, so when I critique Halo 3 for being a drag, it's because of the level design and bizarre choices they made rather than the overall bland visuals. It's really strange though, the level design in this entry feels like a step backwards from Halo 2, which had more arena-focused encounters rather than you just running through the map and laying waste to everything that you see. Halo 3 just carries some of the same problems that I had with the original game. Repetitive level design and enemy encounters that, in my opinion, really hurt the pacing of the game. It really feels like this campaign was made for co-op first rather than solo, which, might I add, co-op was an amazing time. Going through this campaign with 3 other friends was an absolute blast, and it made me think that this was hands down the best Halo game I've played yet.
Get him, Blue Toad!
My name is Jerry. Damn, I should've used that fucking...
But when I recorded it solo for my review, I just wanted to go back to Halo 2. Many of the arenas make it feel like the best course of action is to wait behind cover and let enemies come to you, which just seems to be part of the series at this point, but makes combat feel really boring at times, especially on higher difficulties where any other playstyle is met with instant punishment, which I respect if that's just how the game works, but in that case, I don't think the series is for me. Deployable cover and bubble shields make finding cover in otherwise awkwardly designed arenas more bearable, and if that's their intention, again, I think it's fine, but I can't help but feel like these are just crutches for lacking level design. The only time I ever felt like I was having a galaxy brain moment was when I used the grav lift to reach a higher area before the brutes here spotted me, but even then the grav lift was just waiting there for me, so it was clear that this was the dev's intention, not that there's anything wrong with that. I also finally learned the glory that was the plasma pistol. I can't believe I went the last 3 games without fully understanding this thing's utility. Able to strip shields in an instant with a charge shot, and new to this game, EMP's vehicles, which does add a layer to the sort of sandboxy combat, but again, it just felt kinda lacking. But okay, we're getting awfully close to spoilers here. Yes, I know that this game is 13 years old, but I'm willing to bet that there's others like me out there who have been trying to avoid spoilers for this game all these years later. So without further ado, welcome to Trav Guy's blind Halo 3 review, and let's see together if this game holds up for a first timer all these years later. Gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan of this opening. After hitching a ride on the Forerunner's ship at the end of the last game, Chief gets jettisoned off not even minutes into the game, crash landing back on Earth, a crash assumed to be fatal when he's found by Sergeant Johnson and his team, but as a surprise to nobody, Chief ends up just fine. So fine in fact that he's ready to blast Arbiter's face inside out as soon as he sees him, and probably would've if it weren't for Johnson telling him that the elites are on their side now, and just like that, an uneasy truce is born. This first level was a bit too slow for me. The goal is to regroup with the remaining Earth forces once Johnson and Arby retrieve the Chief, but then Johnson gets kidnapped by some brutes and then he's good. And yes, as you might have suspected, brutes have fully replaced the elites as your enemy goons. The same tanky fucks from the end of Halo 2. You know, the ones that I thought hurt the pacing a bunch. Thankfully, they've been toned down a bit. They're not nearly as tanky or aggressive in this one. They're on par with some of the previous game's elites, and come with some of their own weapons, including the fucking gravity hammer, a weapon that I really took for granted when I played Halo Reach. The most heartbreaking thing about this opening was finding out that I couldn't dual-wield needlers anymore. But they have received a bit of a buff since the last game, making dual-wielding pointless, so I guess it gets a pass. Oddly enough, we don't get a lot of Cortana in this opening level. In fact, she's absent for most of the game since we left her on that Covenant ship at the end of Halo 2. I might have forgotten to bring that part up. Though Cortana is gone, she's not forgotten, broadcasting cryptic and edgy messages to the Chief, and yeah, this sucks. You get this annoying, glitchy visual every time that she tries to contact you, bringing the pacing to a halt, forcing you to slow down to a crawl, often several times in a single mission, and it gets really bad near the end of the game. Chief, please, for the love of God, remove that Battle Network battle chip from your skull. Here, Soundwave, why don't you take my limited edition CP9 battle chip? Chief and the team reunite with the last of the human forces, including the returning Miranda Keyes, where she briefs us on what we've missed, which seems to be a lot for what feels like such a small span of time. The Prophet Truth has returned to Earth and set up his doomsday plans in Eastern Africa, where by the power of crop circles, plans to jump to the Ark and activate every Halo in the galaxy, causing mass extinction on a galactic scale. And once the Covenant gets a lock on the humans' base, it's up to the Chief and the gang to cover the survivors as they retreat.
Ma'am, squad leaders are requesting a rally point. Where should they go?
To war.
Man, that's not a location. Also, that line was stupid. The combat in this level did feel a bit better than the last, especially these turret sections with infinite ammo that can be removed from their tripod and then taken around town, though now with limited ammo. It just felt good. It felt powerful. You also get to dabble a bit in the new grenade types. This cool little spike thing that sticks to surfaces is pretty neat, but it feels a bit too similar to the plasma grenades. I don't know, it just feels a bit redundant. Once everyone's out, Chief pulls a Samus Aran and rigs the place to blow, making it out to safety just in the nick of time.
This place will become your home.
Oh my god, Cortana, please not now. So the Ark, or at least part of it, turns out to have been on Earth all along, explaining why the Covenant came here in the first place, and now have begun to excavate the massive artifact, and the Covenant really mean business here, setting up the biggest guns they've got to protect their excavation site, including a bunch of anti-air tanks, a massive AA gun, and even a fucking Scarab, which yeah, we're forced to face head on. This isn't scripted. The game told me that I should use rockets to cripple the joints, but honestly, I had better luck using the cannons on the Ghost. Once you have the legs crippled, you take the fight into the Scarab, destroy the reactor, and make it out before the thing goes critical. Not too bad of a mini-boss if I say so myself. With the Covenant's forces crippled, the humans take the fight straight to the Forerunner ship where, oh god, we're too late. Prophet Truth escapes into a wormhole to god knows where, and oh look, the Flood are here. Wow, ain't that fucking convenient. Why the fuck are the Flood even here? Why now? Is it supposed to be just a coincidence? Was it that luck that Cortana was talking about in the intro? Gee, that sure sounds like a band-aid for some shitty fucking writing. The Flood now come in a few extra flavors, now having some beefier drones as well as these creepy crawly fucks, making fighting the Flood as a faction more engaging than it was in the previous games, though not by a ton. Thankfully, there's a new flamethrower to make dealing with them kind of easier. I don't know. It felt a bit too easy to kill yourself with this thing. With the aid of the returning elites, it turns out that Cortana was on that Flood ship that just portaled in, and it's up to the boys to retrieve her when all of a sudden, Wheatley, from out of nowhere. Oh man, we're getting a lot of that luck writing today. So 343 just shows up, eagerly trying to save Cortana, where Chief is reasonably cautious. Wheatley tried to kill us at the end of the first game, but he says that because of the destruction of the ring, that it's in his best interest to help us. And Chief just accepts it? No hesitation? Oh, this feels weird. It turns out that the Cortana we rescued was a mere recording, warning the Chief of the Flood's return, but informing the team of a way to destroy the Flood from the Ark without having to activate the rings. Oh, by the way, this elite just nuked half of Africa? It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 Covenants could ever do. Alright, just stop, this is terrible. And after a pretty badass gearing up scene with just enough fan service to get a newbie like me excited, the humans pack up to take the fight through the wormhole to the Ark itself. Huh, I was expecting a bit less sand. Yeah, it's another massive terrarium, just like the Halos, so I guess in that sense it's poetic, but Jesus Christ, I could see the Milky Way galaxy from here. I wasn't a big fan of this level. The hunter duel you have earlier is a complete joke since hunters are back to being complete pushovers, and this vehicle segment feels borderline impossible unless you find this warthog and get an NPC to man the turret. I tried to solo this segment so many times and it felt like it was just throwing me into a situation where it didn't give me any room to come out on top. Get one small detail down and a ghost will be there to punish you. There, that's the last one. Oh, Jesus! Oh boy, a tank segment with backtracking. Ooh! Oh, god damn it, they took away the tank's secondary fire. You need to have an NPC manning the turret if you want to use it. Man, what a fucking downgrade. Oh god, not another one. Much like the original Halo, the team needs to find the Ark's cartographer to learn a bit about the massive facility, which 343 is able to decipher, but because his creators were afraid of him becoming captured by the Flood, only has limited knowledge of the Ark. Even he is confused when he finds a massive barrier in the facility and determines that Prophet Truth must be taking refuge behind it. So after a bizarre one-on-one with a hammer-wielding gorilla, Chief and the team take the fight to the barrier itself. More specifically, 3 generators keeping it online. Well, more like 2 because Arbiter goes after a second generator off screen, but oh my fucking god. This mission opens like the beach mission from the original Halo, a nice callback while also changing things up, with the dropship being shot out of the air. What is this? Oh my god, it's the Opticore from Warframe! This is the Spartan laser, and I held onto this thing for as long as I could, saving it for tanks and these hammer-wielding brutes. That felt good. Arbiter, you got this, bud? Alright, you're taking too long. Arby and the Chief take the barrier down, opening the path to the Prophet Truth, when, oh god damn it, not again, the entire floating city of High Charity from Halo 2 shows up, meaning both Cortana and the Grave Mine are here as well. All the while, we're sent on our way down the path to Truth, with what I thought were 3 vehicles of choice, but as I found out the hard way, going in with anything other than the Scorpion tank feels like suicide. Which I feel is questionable. Maybe I just suck at this. Oh god, this is getting out of hand. Now there's—
Love them.
The Scarabs were way easier to take down this time. Now I can just snipe the power core from the air without even having to board it. A tad underwhelming, but I won't deny this was really satisfying. Sergeant Johnson was captured off screen by the Prophet Truth to activate the rings, again because humans need them to turn them on, and as much as he tries to bait them into killing him, they don't budge until Miranda Keyes crashes the party. Literally.
What's up, fuckers?
This moment really upset me. This was supposed to be an important death scene for an important character. Miranda is ready to end not only her life, but Johnson's as well to prevent the rings from being activated when she's shot in the back by Truth. And god damn it, I really wanted to feel something here, but the sound mixing just ruined it for me. I don't know if this is a problem with the collection's re-release or the original game, but regardless, I'm pretty upset about this.
Your forefathers wisely set aside their compassion.
With Miranda's death comes the activation of the rings by the Hand of Truth, with Arbiter and Chief having to make haste. But then, the Flood once again calls for a truce, as the enemy of my enemy is my blah blah blah. Oh wait, we actually get to fight side by side with the Flood this time! Oh man, I don't want to feel completely worthless next to them. Auto turret, go! What the hell is wrong with you? Truth is overpowered by the Flood, and in probably the most satisfying segment of the entire game, Truth gets what he finally had coming, dying by the hand of the very elite that he manipulated into becoming the warrior he is today.
I am Truth, the voice of the Covenant.
You must be silenced.
Oh man, I love backtracking through the same goddamn area but backwards. Oh man, this is really reminding me of Halo 1. After making their escape from the Flood, Chief just sees Cortana walking around? What the fuck is this? The ghost of Cortana guides Chief to a terminal that when activated spits out a brand new Halo to replace the one that we destroyed at the end of the first game. But since we're so far away from the galaxy, Chief decides that the best course of action to destroy the Flood is to just activate the ring. But if we even want a chance at firing that ring, we're gonna need Cortana, which is easier said than done. I think. What is she doing? The city of High Charity has been completely overtaken by the Flood, meaning those beautiful purple walls are nothing more than flesh and sphincters. Literal sphincters. Ew! Unlike the other Flood escapes from previous games, I actually had a lot of fun here, especially thanks to all of the equipment items lying around. I used all of them that I could. Deployable cover to cover my ass and bottleneck them, bubble shields to recharge my shields if I needed it, cloaking for cloaking. It made it a lot more interesting and engaging rather than just shoot to win. After at least 9 instances of Gravemind and Cortana crying into your visor, Chief and Cortana are finally reunited, where it seems that Cortana is safe and sound. And hey, she still has the index from the first game. And after setting the core of High Charity into critical, Chief, alongside some help from Arbiter, escape High Charity, making a huge dent in the Flood's forces, where it's off to the recreated original Halo to finish the job and finally activate the damn ring. Too bad this level fucking sucks. This is on par with the Flood runs from the first game, just mindless running and gunning that feels like it accomplishes next to nothing. Not to mention that checkpoints are incredibly scarce, so no matter how far you make it up this tower, if you die, you gotta do this whole goddamn thing over again. This single room took me nearly 20 minutes to finish. God, what I'd give for a quick save system. Chief and the team make it to Halo's control room, ready to fire the ring, where Johnson, wanting to make it up for Miranda's death, decides that he should be the one to set the ring off.
Hello! This is the part where I kill you!
343 finally puts it together in his dense little robot skull that we're here to destroy the Halo as well as the Ark, and finally take some initiative to just fucking kill us. Leading to my favorite type of final boss in any game, the type that you can't really win. After depleting all of your ammunition, Johnson wakes up and gives 343 a Spartan laser right in the gear shaft, with you taking up the laser and finishing the job yourself. God, I love these kind of boss fights. It really gives me Super Metroid vibes. Johnson succumbs to his wounds and in his dying words begs the Chief not to lose Cortana and to send him out with a bang. Well, I can only hope that this ring does what it says it does, otherwise we're gonna let this man down. And yes, if you're wondering, this death actually did make me feel something. Johnson's a great character and I was really sad to see him go. Much like the end of Halo 1, the destruction of the ring is resolved with the Warthog run, now accompanied by the Arbiter on the turret, and god damn it, this was incredible. I gave the Warthog run from Halo 1 a lot of shit because it was just overwhelming and overall just kind of shit, but man, this one is fucking awesome. A little repetitive, you do go down the same corridor like 3 times before the end of it, but man, this just felt so good, making it all the way to the end and jumping right onto the frigate. Chief and Arbiter barely make it out in time, just escaping the ring's destructive pull, and then nothing. Cut to a memorial being held to those lost in the war, Miranda, Johnson, and even the Chief. Arbiter makes amends with the humans before him, and the rest of the elites go back to their home planet now that their oppressors have been taken out of commission, and overall creates a bittersweet and mournful ending. The Flood, the Covenant, and the Chief as we know it are gone, and the galaxy might finally be at peace. Now, what am I kidding? Did you really think that they'd kill off Master Chief like that? This fucker's still alive, and oh my god.
Wake me when you need me.
More like wake me up when Microsoft needs more money, am I right? Yeah, this game was weird. I think that they wrapped up everything with the Covenant pretty well, but damn it, I felt like they just didn't know how to write the Flood into this, having them just show up whenever the writers felt it was convenient, and overall just kinda rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't enjoy Halo 3 nearly as much as I did Halo 2, which is a shame. Co-op is a different story. In terms of co-op, I think this might be my favorite, but the solo experience just felt a bit lacking. I was incredibly excited to play this when it was released, and don't get me wrong, I thought the ending was fantastic. Everything from Mission 8 onwards was an absolute blast, but everything building up to it was just so slow. The pacing was all over the place, and I just didn't feel it was as thought out as Halo 2 was. I have heard that Halo 2 and 3 were supposed to be one game that was split in half, and while I understand that that might have been a bit too ambitious, I kinda wish that they just bit the bullet here, cause Halo 3 feels like it was stuffed with a bit too much filler, which coincidentally is a problem that I had with the first Halo game. I definitely enjoyed it more than the first game, but I think that I'd put it right under Halo Reach, and it's nowhere near Halo 2 to me. It's probably gonna be a while before Halo 4 is released on Steam, so it's gonna be a minute before I'm able to check out John Halo's next adventure. But hey, before that comes out, I'll be able to experience this ODST that I keep hearing people talking about. I have no idea what to expect from this. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And if you really liked it, consider supporting my Patreon. Pledging any amount of money will give you access to the Discord server and to get your name in the credits. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time.